Welcome back to another edition of the Mudbowl Podcast with
Joe and Ed.
Hey, how are we today?
5th episode.
Yes,
back in the rhythm.
Ed, what's going on, man? A couple of things. First of all, we'll start with the young Ed. How's young Ed doing?
Young Ed's doing good. He's now 10 pounds, 5 ounces, so bulking up.
Wow.
Big boy. But generally speaking, he slept 5 hours last night. I can't complain.
Nice. So he's healthy.
For the most part. From what I know.
Well,
he's healthier than me.
Well, that's my next question. The next question, Ed. How are you doing physically, emotionally?
I'll tell you what. Last week was a rough week. 4th of July. Internal conflict. Drink with heart problems.
It's a tough one.
Had some chest pain. Felt like I was having a heart attack. Didn't have a heart attack, but had another episode of pericarditis. It came back. I just actually met with my cardiologist this afternoon. Okay, but he says, all right, give it a month, wean off medication, symptom-free. A month after that, I can get back to doing regular stuff.
Wow. So is it Dodge season on hold, I guess is what we're all wondering.
No.
Wow, you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. No. Come on now.
Not at all.
Cap, that's looking at you, Cap. That's ironically Hart. Yeah, what about Cap?
He's a friend of the show.
Oh, big time.
He's going to come on today.
I
can't wait. Can't wait to talk to him today.
Oh, that's excellent. All right, yeah, well, let's get right into it. We have a great show. Oh, wait, no, I'm missing another piece of big information. I don't know about you guys, but, we got some big news. What's that? We got a Little Richard watch.
Little Richard.
We had a scare last night. Well, not a scare because it's a positive thing. But
Tony Braxton came out last night.
Tony Braxton. Wow. But yeah, we got. Is there a Little Richard coming soon?
Perhaps
to Kylie household near you. We're very excited. We're excited to meet Little Ricky.
We might never meet him because Rich don't have us over anymore.
Wow, meeting.
M-E-A-T.
You said we might never meet him. Was that M-E-A-T?
Oh, I didn't mean meet like M-E-E-T. I just meant meet.
We might never enjoy a meat meal.
Exactly, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Oh no, we'll meet him soon, I'm sure.
Oh, great.
Fantastic.
Good.
I'm excited. Exciting news for him.
It really is. So, hey, Rich, we're thinking about you, Trin.
Hang in there.
Of course, Godspeed.
Godspeed. God bless.
Mm-hmm.
We got a lot of stuff on the show today. Last week was a little mute. We didn't have a whole lot to talk about. This week we got a lot. Just to give a quick rundown, we're going to go over really briefly a few news notes around the league. We're going to recap. We're going to bring up the conversation of the draft order and the lack thereof.
Draft order discussion. We want to see. There wasn't a lot of discussion, so I think that might lead to further discussion on our end, but we'll get to that a bit later, I think. What do you think?
I think that's good.
I certainly hope so. But you know what? It's time for a quick version of news and notes. So here we go. Fake news. Not a lot of news out there, but what I will say is a couple of things. I will say we're gonna kind of go Texans based a little bit today.
Sure.
First of all, I just was reading earlier today that Deshaun Watson feels confident out of Texans. Out of their team
camp,
locker room right now.
The camp. Texans
camp. It's not camp yet.
So they got Tom Savage.
Tom
Savage and Deshaun Watson.
I think what Watson will play this year is my call, but what he's saying is he's ready.
Start.
I don't know if he'll start the year, but I think he ends up playing.
I think preseason will be huge.
We'll see.
In other news, ex-Texan.
There we go.
The Brock alert. I don't know if he's. Last time we talked about it was he likes being in Cleveland. That was the big news.
Yeah.
He's a pleasant to be around personality. I don't think they said much about his football playing.
Right.
But you gotta wonder, Brock Osweiler, 6'8", great arm, he's always been wildly inaccurate. And he's facing Deshaun Kaiser out of Notre Dame, who when he was at ND had flashes of brilliance. He looked fantastic.
Right.
Pro body, big guy, athletic, can make every throw on the field. But unfortunately, to me, he had like some of the same tendencies that Brock Osweiler did at ND.
Right.
often in big situations, he kind of was flustered. He would overthrow people, and that could be a testament to having the big arm and just not knowing how to control it. But it's got to be it's a bittersweet quarterback competition because it's almost like you have two versions. A slightly more athletic version with Deshaun Kaiser and a bigger guy in Brock Osweiler, but they both have the same flaw where they don't seem to have that clutch gene.
It seems like a classic scenario of the lesser of two evils.
Exactly.
And the Browns know a lot about evil and just bad.
But I'll tell you what, they have they're definitely looking better.
The defensive side,
for sure.
Offensive line looks really good.
Yeah, so I mean, they got to be better than last year.
I just want to, in Mudbowl, do you think he's sitting there maybe week 3?
No,
does anyone pick him up on waivers?
Unless he's lights out first 3 weeks.
Oof. Yeah,
I mean he might not even be a starter. So let's let the guy play a little, and then give him.
I think that's fair.
I would go 200-1 that he's not drafted within the first. How many rounds are there typically? 15, 16,
4.
He won't
16,
be drafted.
16?
He won't be drafted in a round that isn't the last 2.
He probably won't be.
$200.
I bet he doesn't get drafted. Period. Which easy win. You could just draft him.
Well, that's why I said not including the last 2.
I got you. I could just draft for $200. That's
first round.
That's more than the buy-in. I could.
First round.
First rounder. Pick number 8. Team Anday. I already feel like a winner.
They're on a quest.
Yeah, but it's big. So let's move right along. Not a lot of news and notes. As you guys know, we've been saying not a lot going on right now, but we wanted to give you the Brock update because that's important to us.
Big.
Big Mudbowl news.
Huge.
And talk about Deshaun Watson, his successor, a little bit. So we did that. Going forward, though, we got to look back a little bit. Last week, we did talk about something I've kind of been kind of stepping on the ground about with regards to draft order, and we had quite a conversation about potential things, brief conversation. We wanted to hear from you guys with what you guys thought. Unfortunately, we didn't hear much, which to me, it's a little, I don't know, it's a little telling. Yeah, kind of quiet, but it's got us nervous. I know we were talking about this before the show started.
I'm more or less, honestly, I'm really worried about the commitment. When it comes down to it, I mean, we're bringing up the topics. We're bringing it up to the people in the league. They'll talk about it for 3 or 4 seconds. It's brought up continuously, and it's forgotten.
You know what? I'm really worried, too, man. I feel like we're in a state of...
emergency.
State of emergency.
I think that sums it up, Joe. Honestly.
Show's over. Thanks, guys.
That's it. You've been to the podcast. No, that's not it. But fantastic show, Joe.
I mean, the editing. Another big up to Little Ed, executive producer.
He said he was giving us the cutoff. He was giving us the cutoff sign. We're gonna keep going because we're both bigger.
Is he crying because it sucks? Is he crying because he's hungry?
He's happy.
Who knows?
He's crying out of happiness.
It could be
happy tears.
So yeah, guys. State of emergency. We want to make sure that this league. It is great. It's the greatest league I've ever been a part of and ever will be a part of. Right? But what there's ghosts in here. But we got to figure out some things to kind of get commitment back up.
We got a lot to talk about. We're only let's see. The draft is going to be on, let's see. It's normally on the day after Labor Day. Or no, Labor Day.
Labor Day. That weekend
which is September 4th.
Right.
I mean, so we're only looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks, 2 months.
Just prep time,
shy
mock
of 2
drafts.
months.
Yeah, a lot to go.
And we have nothing. Think about. We had we wanted to have the owners' meetings. Everybody's balking. Nobody's actually wanting to be involved. After the owners' meetings, we had a lot of rules that we needed to talk about. None of them were getting talked about. That draws some red flags to me because we're really not getting anywhere.
Yeah, I'm a little worried. I want, especially when we're all getting older, we all starting families, buying houses, doing this.
What do you suggest?
I got a lot of suggestions today. I want to pitch them to you.
Okay.
We're also going to talk about them with our caller later on, Mike Kapinos.
Yep.
Excited to talk to him. Rivalry week, okay. So why don't we go through that? I'm going to go through a couple of different suggestions, things I've researched, thought of, stuff like that, stuff I've heard of, did a lot of reading on, have talked to other people who have done them myself in other leagues, but we'll break it up into certain parts. We're going to break it up into potential new rule ideas. We'll also talk about possible new league event ideas, and then some other kind of auxiliary fun ideas that I stumbled upon and I thought were pretty cool. So what do you say? Why don't we start and we'll kind of have a back and forth discussion to see what it is. Okay. The hope is, and here's what we'll do, and maybe I'll do this tonight or tomorrow after I post this episode, is on Instagram I will post some sort of like A, B, C, D, E, F, whatever sort of document picture right. In which we could say, hey, let's have the conversation in the comments or maybe in our group chat, Mudbowl. I don't know. What do you think?
I honestly don't think that we're getting far in the group chat,
but maybe
it's not because I don't think there's a genuine interest. I think the issue is that when you have people at work looking at their phones at various times of the day, a lot of times when conversation happens and other things get brought up, there'll be a majority of the people that don't even see the comment.
Right, yeah.
Don't see the text message.
We're back like 397 texts.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And who has time for that? Mike Cap, maybe, but the rest of us don't.
Which is why
we should bring it up for a forum.
Yeah, and what I'm going to start with, so I guess this is kind of, I said I was going to start with potential new rule ideas, but I'm going to start with this. You just brought up the owners meeting. I have an idea.
Okay.
You guys play softball, you guys, so.
Yeah, not you.
Well, thank you, Andy.
Not you.
Yeah, you guys play softball on what, Wednesdays? What
Tuesday,
if we did Tuesday? Sorry, yeah, Tuesday, and then this is Wednesday, and so is poker. What if we did an owners meeting after a softball game? We all, go to the game, have fun, have a couple beers, then we go down to Bar 80. One of these upcoming weeks, like soon, in the next few weeks.
Won't happen.
But it could happen. We'd at least have.
No, it won't happen because it's a Tuesday. The game ends at 10 o'clock.
Oh, is that how late it is?
Who's got to get home? It's not realistic. But I do have a different suggestion. So I know a lot of us were involved in Sunday morning softball.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of us played weekend morning football.
Yes.
I think early August, because I know Little Richard is coming out soon. Yes, so obviously he's going to need a little time.
Right.
League member, former champion, friend of the show.
Friend of the show, Rich Cali, yes.
Yeah, so I think we ought to give him some time, but I think by early August, assuming that Little Richard's born relatively soon, I think if we have a Sunday morning softball game that culminates with the owner's breakfast.
So you're saying we play an exhibition game?
We go out, just fucking around.
I really like that idea. I think that'd be fun.
8 a.m.
It's a good practice for you guys to play on Tuesday.
We go out early, 8 a.m.
Yeah.
Play a softball game.
Yeah.
We look into go down to a field where we know there's not going to be a
like something going on.
Yeah, and play a quick game. Mix it up, even if it's 6-on-6. Just fucking around, and then we have the owner's breakfast. We'll go to a place, have breakfast, and then we'll talk about everything over food.
I love it.
I honestly think that's a great idea.
It's phenomenal.
I've come to decide that, or come to the idea that a weeknight's not going to work for everybody. It needs something everybody is going to work for.
Yeah.
I don't think any of this work on Sundays.
Not that I know of, no.
So I think that's our day, and I think midday is asking too much. When there's a Mascola party every weekend, when people have things when people have things to do during the middle of the day.
Yeah, of course.
So I think Sunday morning's a good give and take for people.
Well, I think that's a phenomenal idea. I think that is a great idea. I would be down for that. I'm sure many people would.
Now, the big thing is once we get there, what are we talking about?
So here we go. Let's go back. So as I said, I'm going to start with the potential new rule ideas. Here are just some ideas to try to maybe spice up our league. Not saying that I am all for all of them. I think they would be cool. But, it's something that I think would be on the table. So first of all, some potential new rule ideas. One of my coworkers over at Hill House, he's in a league, and I know several other people who do it, but he highly touts his IDP league, which if you don't know, I'm sure most of you do, it's individual defensive player league, which is the same thing as what we do, only you have individual defensive players. Rather, you also have a team defense the same way we do now, but you do pick, and it can be anywhere from like we would probably do anything from 1 to 3 spots. So maybe that's one lineman, one linebacker.
I'm going to interrupt you.
All right. Okay.
I like the idea.
Yeah.
I like the fact that it brings people from the offensive side only. You know, we have a lot of people in our league didn't really get into the NFL until fantasy football.
Right. I think this forces everyone to kind of...
And what happened is, so everybody's familiar with the offensive side of the ball. Not many people are familiar with the defensive side of the ball. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it's fair coming right away and starting that. And I think it would be more formidable of an idea if we did it in a test league to see if people like it. Because not enough people have the knowledge of who's defensive players.
Right.
You don't see that. I mean, they're not stats that you see on the bottom line.
Yeah.
It's not stuff that everybody's familiar with. I think if we put it in a test league format, the one I wanted to start this year for anybody involved, I would 100% do it.
The Mudbowl Podcast.
Mudbowl Podcast Test League. I like it. And we could pick, that's something we could discuss, whether we want to do 1 or 3 spots. How many players do we want to do? A linebacker,
and it could just be one player where, you know, most out of 12 teams you probably know. Everyone probably knows 12 linebackers.
I like lineman middle, or linebacker outside middle in secondary, or we could just do lineman in secondary, which means a linebacker technically, I guess, or or corner or safety.
For those of you who don't know, the scoring system is, and this isn't it, but it's things based on tackles for losses, forced fumbles, interceptions, and that's all. You can customize all that stuff, but those are just some of the things. It's not like, I mean, obviously if your player scores a touchdown, that's more points as well. But it's things on that. Those are the more common things. But I agree with you that it could be good in a test league or
think
starting off.
The fact that we're getting so much pushback from people in the league about stuff like Fab Cash, I think IDP is completely off the table. I like the idea. I really do.
See that, yeah.
But I think it needs to start in a test format where people can say, "Oh, this isn't that bad.
Hey,
I have an idea of what's going on.
Okay.
This isn't too bad."
I do like it. All right, next on the list. Very
what else
good.
You got?
IR spot. Now, let me just say something here. When I was in that Fantasy Footballers podcast, friends of the show, league, we got to get one of them on.
Yeah.
They used to answer my messages when I was in their league.
We'll bring one. Mike Fick, too. Good friend of the show.
Oh, big time friend of the show. Yeah, I got him. There's a picture of me and him on Facebook. But anyways, we had an IR spot in that league, and I thought that was so cool. One of my running backs got hurt for 3 or 4, maybe it was a wide receiver, got hurt for 3-4 weeks, about a month. And rather than drop him or keep him on my bench and waste a spot,
right?
You get, in that league, we had one spot. That was an IR spot. So you can put your player in that spot if they're hurt.
And then you got to drop somebody before you take them back.
Yes, essentially. Yeah. So, but you don't have to drop anybody. Or you can pick somebody up. That's what I should say.
I am 100% for that, because too many people, you get that IR player. He might be a big crucial cog in the wheel of your team.
Say a David Johnson.
Yeah, we'll make a scenario. David Johnson comes in first week, tears his let's say his meniscus.
Yeah, and I'm assuming he's a top 3 pick, so that might fuck over whoever
gets a meniscectomy, which he's not going to be back in 2 months. But he's going to be back by week 10, week 11.
Dr. Ed with the prognosis and diagnosis.
Yeah, he's going to be back week 10, week 11. But what are you going to do to fill that gap when you need that player? You can either keep him on your roster and be playing a man down, essentially, in terms of what you can pick up. Or we can have the IR spot where you can, kind of have a filler. So, I mean, I always liked having the IR spot. I know we haven't had it because we've had bigger benches. Right. But I rather have...
we did drop a spot, I believe.
Yeah, we were down to 6, right?
Yeah, which is
I like 6.
Normal, I should say.
I like 6. I think 6 is reasonable because there's somebody that's going to be of... not fantastic value, but of value.
It depends. So, in the way our league is now, even if we were to have IR spot, if someone gets hurt on the Rams and the backup there, right? You know what I mean? That's a huge
there's somebody that can fill off free agent list.
Yeah.
And then
Darren McFadden would be, someone who you might think, but he could be a great player.
Yeah, but he'll be on the IR. But yeah, I like it because it doesn't make you rely on a less than valuable player. And if you have a very valuable player, you're not giving him up because somebody else might be like, well, I have running backs, and I don't mind picking up David Johnson because I don't need him. I don't need the running back spot. Or somebody that says, I have a very good team. I'm deep in wideouts. I have extra wideouts. Let me drop one and pick up this guy, and I'll have him for the playoffs. I didn't draft him. I didn't spend the third draft pick of the first round draft pick on it, but I'm gonna have him on my team when it counts.
Yeah. I
think we need IR spots, 100%.
Yeah, and some leagues have more than one. I think one is enough, especially for if we were to start it.
I mean, I think I wouldn't even. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't even mind two.
I'm certainly okay with that. I just think that one, at least to start out.
I'd make a caveat. You can't pick up somebody on the IR and put them in your IR.
Oh, spot. Someone who's already marked as IR on the fantasy app, or on Yahoo, I should say.
I think that because then you're stockpiling somebody for no reason. I would do that as an exception. You can't pick up a player on the IR.
Yeah.
You can only put them on the IR on your team.
I like it.
I like it. And honestly, I'd like to hear why somebody would be against it. I don't know the reason.
Well, I mean, because it's not like anyone has any unfair advantage. It's not about like knowledge of defense.
It's fair for the team.
Everyone
that
has
the player.
that. Exactly.
Same thing with Fab Cash. It's fair for whoever injures the player. Now, on the reciprocal end, I could see why somebody, why. Oh, well, now we have an IR spot. So why do we need Fab Cash? Because now this player's getting a significant player for their injured backup. But then the answer to that would be, when that significant backup comes back, that player is no longer valuable.
Right, and I think it's a good transition point for Fab Cash. We've talked about this in the past. We'll briefly talk about it here, and I think we're going to ask Cap about this later, owner of Keystone Caps. So Fab Cash. Just to briefly go over it again, I'm going to go talk as quickly as possible. Mm-hmm. Everyone gets a budget of, let's say, just for number's sake, $100 at the beginning of the season. As the waiver process becomes available, the same way it does currently in our league, you would bid on a player you may want. Mm-hmm. It's kind of strategy. How much is that player worth to you, as opposed to not being worth enough? And whoever bids the highest, great. You can also bid zero for players. You can literally bid $0. Right. And that keeps you in that bidding contest rather than just not doing anything.
You'll get the player
if no one else bids, or if
Right. So we'll bring that up.
I think we'll talk about that more with Cap later. I will say this:
we beat down Fab Cash. We've talked about it every show.
The one thing I did not bring up though,
Fab Cash, friend of the show.
Oh yeah, Fab. Are you kidding me? Fabo. Fab Cash. Here's the thing, though. This is a caveat, and I was doing a lot of research on sites like Reddit and stuff like that, of leagues that use Fab Cash.
Right.
And a lot of them, I found, will actually be allow for the ability to trade Fab money.
I saw that, too.
So if you have $20 left and it's week 8, but I have $85 left. Let's say I want, you have, we'll say David Johnson again.
Right.
You have David Johnson, and I have, some receiver, Des Bryant. Let's just go there. You need a receiver. You want Des Bryant and some Fab Cash and I'll give you some running back. And
see, now that's also going to play into our trading rule.
Right.
Because if, let's say Sunday somebody gets hurt and you're like, shit, I need more Fab Cash.
Right.
I'm going to trade this for this. That trade needs to go through quick before Tuesday.
So you're saying
before Tuesday's deadline. So I like the 1 day trade, what do we go, 24 hours?
Yeah, we were talking about with Steve in our first episode. Yep.
So that you can get
Commissioner Dr. Lano.
That's correct.
Doc Commish.
But then we get into the trouble of, and that's why almost the instant commissioner approval is better, because let's say Monday ends. You can't
Monday Night Football, someone got hurt.
You have to wait for Tuesday to do any moves.
Yeah.
Now, if you do a trade, you're no longer eligible for the Fab Cash auction, which is why it needs to go by quicker, which is why I'd actually employ a 12-hour trade rule.
Yeah, I mean, we're all so connected via the group chat.
I think
it should be like an hour. I mean, obviously, or whenever Steve's available or whatever. Sorry, my
well, I think it should be. I honestly think, but I think this year that because if we're gonna have more commissioner involvement, that we need an assistant commissioner.
Ooh,
because let's say Steve Lano's caught, he's busy. He's not near his phone. He's doing research. He's doing something, and he's not around to just process and say, bingo, we need to get this trade through. Right. You need to have a second option. Ooh, honestly, if I had to put somebody up for a vice commissioner role, it'd probably be Mike Kapinos. The reason why Mike Kapinos is experienced in a lot of fantasy football leagues. Mm-hmm. Mike Kapinos is relatively impartial. I've never seen Mike Kapinos argue for one way or the other in anything in fantasy football. Don't boo. Mike Kapinos is impartial.
Yeah, I trust his fantasy opinion.
Yeah, and he's I've never texted Mike Kapinos or looked for him and not been able to find him since he was collecting money from the state and drinking 7 nights a week. Every once in a while we have the Amber Alert.
Which is lower than his usual 8 nights a week.
Right, we know sometimes we have the Amber Alert on Cap, but those times Steve
keeps things interesting. That's why I like it.
He's not going to be the primary contact, but he'll be there if we can't get a hold of Steve. You haven't get a hold of him. You couldn't get a hold of him for 2-3 hours. Text Cap. Cap, how's this trade?
So I think if Cap were to be like a assistant or a vice commissioner, I think Ricky, who usually knows where Cap is, even in these missing times,
emergency contact.
Could be like his
emergency contact.
All right, maybe also at the owner's meeting we talk about everyone's emergency contact within the league.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea though.
But yeah, I think that actually, and I'll actually make a list. I'll volunteer to do this.
Yep.
Of things that we talk about today and what people bring up after the show of kind of the docket for our potential owners meeting / softball brunch, whatever the hell it is.
Okay.
But that should be cool. Next thing I want to talk about, and we're making good time, it's great, is draft pick trading. This is something I also read quite a bit about that I think sounds cool.
Now, draft pick trading, I love it. I think it brings strategy because, oh man, I'm looking at what's left on the board. I need a running back.
Wow.
I'll trade you my next picks because I'm confident what I have already. But we can't do it in the current system, so we would need a different draft system.
So, and we're going to talk about some different draft systems. Oh, good. We're going to, talk about some different draft systems later. However, not only could it be during draft or right before the draft starts, we can also do this a season ahead of time. And how would this happen? We're going to use the same example all show for this. My running back goes down, right? But I have like a decent backup, but I want someone better. And you need receiver help big time, and Dez is having a great year. If I desperately need David Johnson, and you have another, like maybe you got, I don't know, let's just say, for argument's sake, you have Zeke as well.
Sure.
So you already have a great running back or whoever else. And I'm desperate. I might say, okay, here's the deal. I'm going to give you Dez Bryant, which I know you need. The backup for, I don't know, the Rams. Maybe Gurley's got a bum ankle or something like that.
Sure.
And then I'm also going to give you my third-round pick next year.
Right. Oh,
right?
I like that.
So what happens is we would actually, that could go through as a trade, but we wouldn't be able to put it into the system.
We'd have to track that in like a Google Doc.
A Google Doc, exactly. So, and that could be the commissioner's job
and that's
to
fine.
just,
that's
or
easy.
whoever's job, to put it into a list, and that way we can all access it. That we all can edit.
And we'll have editing rights for the commissioner and just viewing rights for everybody else.
For everyone else.
And that's fair.
It's very simple and fair. And then what it becomes is when we pick next year, I think there's a way to actually do that manually, or we can say, okay, Ed, we traded last year, we have swapped third-round picks, or you know who you have for the third round, I can draft for you. It's a bit confusing in that, and I have to look up the rules or the technicalities
what I like
of how
about
to do that.
But although fantasy football, we haven't adapted, we haven't seemed to be inclined to doing the dynasty format.
Right.
But it is almost a small segue, so we can build for the next year. So if your team is really bad, and let's say Joe's one piece shy, hey, Joe, I'm going to trade you Alshon Jeffrey. This is mid-season. I don't even like the mid-season. I like the mid-season aspect to it.
Right.
Joe, you want Alshon Jeffrey, you need a receiver? You trade me what do you think he's worth? A 6th-round pick? 5th-round pick? You trade me your 5th-round pick for next year because guess what? You're making a run in 2017, and I'm trying to give myself a better base for 2018.
Yeah, and I actually just said it could be a matter of if you're going to trade draft picks to make it easier on the commissioner or even easier for the team. This might not even be a commissioner deal other than tracking what picks. I could say, okay, I'll give you that 5th, but you're going to give me your last pick, your last round or your 2nd-round pick, just so it doesn't become I have extra players.
I will say, though, one thing.
But you can draft my guy when I tell you to next year, and then we just swap those picks.
But I would say in opposition, or not in opposition, but definitely something to keep that under control.
Right.
I would say that drafting players for draft picks in subsequent years has to be done early in the year. It can't be something done in the last week. Like there's got to be 2 trade
almost like a trade deadline.
You need a trade deadline for straight out trades, but then you need a more of a lineage trade deadline because at the end of the year it's not fair to the rest of the league if I trade every single good player for draft picks. And it's not even that I'm trading. Let's say I'm trading my best running back and he's a 2nd-round draft pick. Joe, give me a 4th-round draft pick, and you're like, oh, no brainer. And then next year, I do that for 3 players, and I have 4 2nd-round draft picks. So I would say that maybe that would be smart.
Maybe a week before the actual trade deadline.
I'd say halfway through the year. And I'd say you could only do it once per team.
Use trade picks.
Right. You can't because then you have the threat of people unloading their entire roster.
Yeah, I think that if it's earlier than the normal trade deadline, then that could fix that.
By week 8. And you have to have...
Because in week 8, honestly, look at my team last year. Everyone thought I was Sacco.
Right,
I wasn't even the Sacco contention.
Right, and you got to hold a little bit of hope. But
that's what I'm saying. People are going to dump their team, especially... Actually, that's the other thing.
That's why I say one player. You can only do it once.
But that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying what's great about our league and what is scary about our league is the Sacco idea, which you're not going to have people dumping because you have
they don't want to be
Sacco
for. But... I nonetheless,
I agree with what you're saying.
Some people don't value being like. There's some people that don't care if they're Sacco. There's some people that don't really feel a punishment when they're Sacco. Yeah. So I think that having a deadline, an earlier deadline, as well as one trade for a draft pick per team, I think that's more reasonable. But let's move on because we don't want to stick on this topic. We could talk about it forever.
Honestly.
There's so many different scenarios.
Hopefully you guys kind of take these into consideration, maybe do some research on your own, and then also get into, also we can figure out what we're going to do as far as this
draft
owners
order
meeting. Oh. Right. Okay. So, but
that's something we'll talk about. We've beaten the draft order down like a dead horse.
Yeah.
We have different reasons. The WWE simulated
Rumble.
match,
Yeah.
random draft order. That's something we're gonna have to decide on. But I honestly don't think we're gonna figure that out on the air. I think that's something that's gonna come down to the owners meeting.
Right. Well, what I will say is this. Here's an idea. Regardless of whatever we use, let's say it's the Royal Rumble and you win. You're Shawn Michaels and you win.
Okay.
What we could do, and maybe this is going forward as well, whoever wins in whatever the order is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 through 12, maybe the one person gets to choose, and this probably wouldn't apply for what we've done in the past with the double blind, just pulling numbers, but if we were to do some sort of competition like the wrestling thing, that the person who wins chooses their spot. And then the second place chooses their spot.
There's some guys out there that they want first pick. They want their player. They want first pick. Then there's others. They're like, I love being 11. I love being 12.
Right. There's a lot of people say this. So that's why. I think we take into consideration a lot of what
I think that's
people
fair.
like and don't like, and something to talk about. All right. This next idea, which is something we've tossed around quite exhaustively, and certainly something for me and my caller today, Cap, have tossed around, is the idea of rivalry week.
Well, this is one of the challenges because when you're picking a rival, obviously, you're my rival. How do we get it into the schedule? So what happens at that point is we're doing the draft on Labor Day, which is smart. Enough. Which is smart because we've gotten through the preseason. We know who's going into the season healthy. We know who's going into the season injury. The issue is if we want to pick rivals and pick people we'll be playing twice a year. How are we gonna? We have to now create the schedule before Thursday.
I don't even think. No. I don't even think it needs to be a twice a year thing.
I like it.
I do like it. No, but
that's why they're your rival.
If anything, not even that. I just think there needs to be a week potentially, because I think it'd be fun, and we make a big deal out of it. It becomes a big thing. We have fun with it. Where at every week 3 or every week 4, every week whatever.
That's why
that is when you play a rival. Obviously,
that's why
main cap
because
you and who? Mark. Yeah,
we're creating a trophy. But anyways, because you're gonna play your rival the last week of the year.
I also like that. I think that's a great idea. But then that would be a double. Yeah.
What I like is I like playing. We should have rival week, first game of the year, last game of the year. 2 weeks. One at the first. One to get everything going. One to end the season.
I don't hate it.
And then
I just think there needs to be at least one. I don't hate that idea.
Mainly because it's so random, the scheduling. You got to play everybody. So it's not like we're creating a schedule where, guess what? Ed's got a really soft schedule this year. No, we all have equal schedules for the most part, but we play people twice.
Yeah.
And I think having it to start the season and to conclude the season would be an excellent idea. I think that's great.
This will be something I think we should talk about at the
softball, hopefully.
Yeah. Sure, yeah, and it would be like a vote for who's
right. So I think we should get our caller on. I think
Okay. On a topic of rivalry week for sure.
Yeah. He's your rival, right?
You know it. I also want to thank Ed. What's this called now?
It's called the Evil Twin. I guess it's just called Diane. It's exceptional. It's just an IPA all galaxy it's 7% by volume.
Phenomenal. Yeah. Phenomenal drink.
Fruity, very fruity.
I love it.
Yeah, but there's so much to talk about, and I just the one thing I wish is that we can just have a little bit of flexibility in the people in the league, because guess what? You don't know something until you try it. But speaking of that, we got Mike Kapinos on the line.
Welcome to the show.
Friend of the show. Welcome, Mike. What's going on?
Not too much. Boring day today. How about you?
Not too bad. I just saw you not too long ago. But hey, so anyway, Mike, we're talking about a lot of stuff. We're talking about draft order. We're talking about things in the league commitment, how we want to handle a rivalry week. We want to try to get some of your thoughts on it.
All right, ask away.
All right, so Mike, what are your thoughts on the draft order selection? What do you think it should be? And let's hear that. We'll start with that.
Let me say that I always enjoy getting together with the friends and just throwing a double random out of a hat, a coffee cup, whatever. That's always been my favorite way to do it. Make a little drinking event, have some hot dogs.
I like
What kind of hot dogs would you say?
I like to leave it up to chance.
What kind of hot dogs?
It's definitely natural casings by Hummels.
Hummels, official sponsor of the show, by the way, in the official hot dog in the Mudbowl Podcast. Anyway, Mike, so we had an idea. I don't know what you think of it, but we wanted to use a WWE wrestling game and select random characters for a Royal Rumble and see, and that decides the draft order. Now, they all have to be of similar grade, but it's random. We just watch.
Kind of the old-timers, too, like Stone Cold, Bret
Everybody.
Hart, all those guys.
I understand the idea. It's not terrible. Don't really like it, but I understand.
Fair enough. Mike, now, I went out...
If you get stuck with a bad wrestler, you know you're screwed.
True.
But it's also tough because is first pick good? Is 12th pick good? Who knows? It changes every year.
Well, we actually talked about that a little bit early in the show. We thought that if we were to do something that wasn't just like pulling names out of a hat, but actually like involved a winner in a second place.
Actually, hold on, Joe. Let me stop you for a second because Mike likes the double random. So, Mike, now for the double random, we're picking number 1 through 12. Now, what are your thoughts on that number 1 through 12 not being necessarily your draft order, but where
you draft
your pick based on the number 1 through 12. So let's say you don't like being the first pick, but you rather be 12th and you were number 1. Do you want to be able to pick number 12?
That's an interesting idea, but it also takes out the randomness of it.
Well, it randomizes the selection and gives the player the random pick.
And which means, like, let's say you really want the first pick, but you're in second place, essentially. Or, like, you get number 2, I should say. Right?
Yeah.
maybe I drew the number 1, but I really want the 12th pick, or I really want whatever. Then that gives you the opportunity, and it becomes more of a strategy process rather than just completely.
Because let's say you like, you're not a big I know you're a running back guy, but let's say you want a wideout, and you're like, well, I picked number 3. It's all going to be running backs. I know I could get a wideout later. That's going to help me on the hook by going for pick 9 and pick 15.
Get 2 good players, yeah.
Maybe I'll go later because I want a wideout. Do you think that brings some strategy into it?
But no, I think that does bring strategy. I also like that you get stuck with whatever pick you have.
Okay.
It changes your strategy. Like you said, I might be a running back guy, but you know what? This year, if I got that 9th pick, I might have to go receivers.
Right.
So it just keeps people on their toes.
Do you worry about I know we've done it where we've missed people, but it wasn't many. With regards to like choosing the draft order, because you want to have most people there, but obviously we all have busy schedules and this and the other thing. Do you think that becomes a factor where we might just hold it off for as a longer time than maybe people want?
I think we should probably try to get more technology based in Mudbowl, where they have Google Hangouts and Skype and all that stuff, where even if someone's not there, they can get away for 5 minutes to be a part of the actual draft.
Cap,
that's what I do for
I honestly think that's a great idea. I was thinking about that too. I wanted to mention it earlier. We were talking about a potential owners meeting. I think doing those hangouts with the video conferencing, I think that'd be awesome. So, ups to you, rival, but I agree with him on it on all of his
stuff.
Hey, Mike.
The technology they have nowadays.
So, Mike, I have another idea for we've all talked about the owners meeting. Originally it was supposed to be a party. That seems like it's not going to happen. We were talking earlier about an idea of we all used to play Sunday morning softball. None of us play Sunday morning softball. Finding a field, going and play just softball with the people in the Mud Bowl, which is probably close to enough to play a complete game with maybe an automatic pitcher or something. And then after going out for breakfast and having that be the owners meeting.
I mean, I would definitely be down for that if it's a Sunday that fits everyone's schedule.
Right. Probably sometime in mid-August.
You know me. Yeah, we have friends of Mud Bowl too that have been in and out, like people that would come and play too, that have come to the Saturdays and stuff just to get a full game,
Yeah, I think we definitely have enough.
I think that's a good idea. On to another topic. So we've been talking about trades. We want trades to go through quicker. We want them to get processed because you shouldn't have to wait for a few days. Now, originally, our idea that was taken pretty well was that it just needs, what do we have a commissioner for if the commissioner doesn't really do anything? And that if we trust our commissioner, that if there's a trade made, it should go by the commissioner and he should be able to approve it right away. Now, I was like saying, all right, Steve's a busy guy. We've texted him, friend of the show, and he hasn't answered us for hours. What happens in the case where he doesn't answer one day, but, I sent a trade, it didn't get through. I tried to do it 2 hours before a game, it didn't get through. And somebody else does a trade another week, an hour before, and it gets through. There's no fairness. So we were talking, and I vouch for you because I have utmost confidence in you that perhaps we should have a vice commissioner. Somebody that if the first line of trades doesn't go through, he should be the one that's taking the responsibility for making that call. I nominated Mike Kapinos as I think he has a plethora of fantasy knowledge, and you've also been pretty impartial for everything. Would you think that's a decent responsibility for you?
Yeah, I could definitely handle something like that along the lines of Steve. We work very well together, so I don't see an issue there.
Yeah, I like the idea. I think.
But what's your thought on that idea in general of that quick trade? We have a commissioner. He should.
I don't make trades in the league because it takes 2 days to go through, and even sometimes it's like little. I don't even know how to do it. It's weird.
Yeah, I think that the weird sort of scenarios. I think this happened to me and Eric last year with the Thursday game where we got a player with a day and a half in advance, and we couldn't use them in a great matchup on Thursday night, which
which sucks.
Yeah,
you don't have any time to trade.
So what do you think of
Thursday night guy?
What do you think of the commissioner approval?
Yeah, I'm in another league that does that too. I don't see any problems with it.
Why do you have a commissioner if they don't do anything?
And I don't really like the whole veto trade system because it's really not up to anyone else. As long as it's not collusion, there's two people doing the trade.
Right.
Personally.
So now,
if both people think they're making their teams better, and it's not like collusion, I don't see an issue why the trade couldn't go through.
Right. Now, regard to trades, so we were talking about, the Mud Bowl's never been committed to a dynasty format, which is fine. That's what the league is. But we were curious what your thoughts are on, there's a different fantasy draft. It's called Fan Draft. And that it's almost a big board. You see everything, but because it's offline, we could also trade draft picks.
Yeah, so I think you looked into this a little bit. It's something I saw over the past week. Just new software to kind of have a big board. It has a ticker, kind of looks like you're watching ESPN or something. I know we do Yahoo, and it's easy. It's we're comfortable with it and all that stuff. We can see rankings. But do you have thoughts on the idea of that Fan Draft software?
Actually, I was just doing some research on the shitter on the Fan Draft.
Oh, nice.
And it seemed like a pretty useful tool for drafting. And I know that as we're getting older with kids and everything, people with kids, that it's tougher for everyone to make a draft.
It shouldn't be, but it is.
But it seems with this that you could easily draft from home and feel like you're there type of thing.
Now, I
cheap
see
too,
that,
only $30.
But I don't want people to be discouraged to show up from draft day. I think
no, I'm not saying anything like that, but sometimes there's extenuating circumstances.
Oh, obviously.
Which then you could say, well, Yahoo works perfectly fine for that. I just think this for $30 between the more than 12 of us.
It's well worth.
Oh yeah, it's like $2 a pop, and it's just cool. It's like kind of spice things up.
It's more exciting than a normal draft room. We can put it on the big TV.
Exactly. Yeah.
I really like it.
Now, what's your thoughts though about trading draft picks?
I mean, it's a really tough situation. I don't really have any previous experience trading draft picks. I mean, I really don't care if people want to do it. I don't know if I necessarily would, but it wouldn't be I wouldn't be against it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
here's
another thing we brought up.
Really tough.
Another thing we brought up, Mike. Possibly having an early in the season trade deadline. All right, so let's say you don't like your team this year. You want to trade. This is why I brought up dynasty format. It's not necessarily a dynasty format, but it's tying years together. You have a plethora of running backs. You need to get rid of one. Somebody else needs one bad. You don't like anybody on your team. Hey, I'll give you so and so the running back for your 2018 fifth round pick.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan on that.
Okay.
Why?
Because.
And now we said we would have it capped. We were mentioning. Hold on, 1 second. We said it would be capped at one per team.
There have to be keepers involved, and there have to be a lot of changes for that to happen. Because right now our league just runs year to year. So people in the bottom are going to be looking to trade their good players.
Well, Mike, that's why we had it early in the year.
Well, in a couple of things.
How early are you going to do it, though? What week are you going to make the trade deadline?
Week 8 for that, and then later for the regular trade deadline.
1 and 7, you're going to be looking to get everyone to load up on draft picks for next year.
But we also said that we'd cap it to 1 per team.
And here's the thing, Cap, too. I think, and I don't know if I'm even sold on it, to be honest, but I could be. The thing that you could do, the way our league is set up is that we have a Sacco, so no one's going to tank because they don't want to be Sacco. You know what I'm saying?
No, I agree with that.
And the other thing is it doesn't have to be a keeper thing as well, because when you think about it, you're only trading that draft pick. And I said to Ed before he called in, that it wouldn't be a matter of like it would be very tough to say I'm going to trade you David Johnson and my third round, and you're just going to give me Julio Jones. It would probably be Julio Jones in like a 12th round, so that we just draft for each other and then make that trade, or Steve or whoever makes that trade right before the season starts.
I mean, it's something that's one that we should talk about the owner meeting. I don't think anyone will ever trade a draft pick from the future anyways, but...
Right.
And here's another question, I guess.
Yeah.
Mike, now we have me and Joe are trying to bring up a lot because we think the league's stagnant, to be quite honest. Would you be interested, and this is more, not necessarily, we could do low stakes, $20 a team, $50 a team, whatever people want to do. Having more of a Mud Bowl test league. So it's a league where every role we're discussing and unsure of, not sure how it's going to fit, we're going to put in that league. We're going to have tons of different rules. We're going to type out a rule book so people understand them, but so people can get a really real feel before they vote on them for if they want to be in the Mudbowl.
I'm 100% in for like a $20 text league.
That works.
I wouldn't even think twice, just because it's a good experience to learn. Because I'm like, even like I don't know anything about auction leagues, like stuff like that.
Right.
Just because I don't have experience on some of these rules, so I'm kind of buying some of the rules we've had in the past. But sometimes they end up being better.
And that's why I feel that a lot of people are hesitant. They're the type of personality where they don't like change. I think that for people to really adapt to something, they need to do it where they don't have much at stake. And I think that would be an idea.
But enough to get the buy-in, so
right,
to try it. Yeah.
Just to try it.
Cap.
Well, yeah, it's got to be like $20 or so. People still stay interested, but it's not that much money.
Awesome. Cap, I got one last question for you. I think we have for you. Okay.
Yes.
What are you looking forward to most this year? You just came off not your best year, of course.
Not my best, but
we
it's been my worst. But I still technically wasn't Sacco.
But yeah.
I'm still looking forward to the lesbian wedding, but that's preseason. That's my preseason most looking forward to. Every year I look forward to rivalry week. That's always fun.
Oh, Mike, so that is actually one question I forgot to ask you. So we were talking about, how the schedule's typically randomly allocated. We wanted to know what your thoughts were on actually creating a rivalry week. So creating...
I think rivalry week could probably be early in the season, so that it's again like week 13. It'd be awesome.
So Mike, what I was saying was we have rivalry because once we create one matchup on the schedule, you got to create the whole schedule. So we have the draft's on Labor Day. We have 3 days to make the schedule, and I don't mind being part of it. If we need to make a schedule committee, but having the rivals play week 1 in the last week of the season. Or the second, I'd say I wouldn't even say the last week. I'd say the second to last because that's when the most is at stake.
Yeah.
And then just creating the rest of the schedule.
And an early matchup would be fantastic.
Because it's one thing if it's like, all right, we're going to play basketball one-on-one because, some people are more talented than others. But in fantasy football, one team could be good one year and one can, so it's random. Nothing. It's random. It means nothing. So are you for that idea?
100%. I've been saying that for years. I'd like to play Daley twice. It's just fun.
Yeah. And I want to play Mark twice, too. So
I'm with you.
Yeah,
Cap,
it's just fun.
It was a pleasure having you on the line today. We got some good insight from you.
Be sure to listen to the show going forward, or listen to this show because obviously you'll be able to hear yourself. But we have a couple of new ideas that we didn't bring up with you that we want you to weigh in on along with everybody else. So, Cap, you know what? You're my rival, but what a great interview. We've been having some great guests. I gotta say.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
All right, Cap. Well,
friend of the show.
I hope to hear you soon, and have a good night. God bless.
God bless.
Talk to you guys later. God bless.
Joe, great interview.
Another great interview.
So, I think we've touched upon mostly everything on the show.
Just a couple of last-minute, new kind of fun ideas to possibly do.
Well, 1 second, Joe. I think we've had a lot of ideas today. I think we should maybe push those ideas to maybe another week.
Why are you in such a rush, Ed?
I'm not in a rush.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Listen, I'm just gonna say them because
okay, and then we'll say them today.
But get them all out.
We'll get them out.
Owners meeting
people can look up the idea, and then we'll
here
go
it
over
is.
it.
2 things, just fun ideas to make the league more interesting.
Sure.
This is on my list. Okay. An NFL honors like they do now, award style ceremony. We pick best fantasy team, worst pickup, worst trade, best trade. Have fun with that. That's it. Okay. Second thing was a Pro Bowl week. We end at week 16. We do a week 17 Pro Bowl week. I'm going to go through this quick. We create 2 divisions now that will stay the same forever.
Okay.
However, they are not actual divisions that have any bearing on what we're doing. So we can they're fugazi sort of divisions, but simple as that, what this means is, and maybe we do it by champion and non or whatever. You do it by age, I don't really care. All right. What happens is we create the 2 top teams from each division become Pro Bowl captains or coaches.
Right.
What happens in week 17 is that so if you're the winner of your division or at the regular season, you're the best in your division, I'm the best in my division. We are now Pro Bowl captains. What then happens is this: from everyone in our division, all 6 teams, including ours, so that's 6, we create one fantasy roster to put up against the other person in the other division in week 17. But we can choose from everyone on the team. But no free agents or anything like that. Everyone who was on team in week 16.
This isn't in Yahoo. This is more of a post-hoc scoring.
Yeah. We won't have this matchup in Yahoo. It would just be a quick all right.
I don't mind it. I think it's a fun idea. It's more something where we'll see. Oh, do we want to throw some money down and make it something fun?
I think maybe towards the middle of the year or whatever, we collect $25 from each team.
Honestly, I don't even mind if it's something where it's the losing team. The losing team's responsible for the bear and the wings for the Super Bowl party. Something like that. I don't even care.
Or you could, and here's the other idea, or you throw money in, and what happens is, and I read this was an idea, I got to give credit to somebody else, and so let's say if it was $25 a team, or we could do the beer and wings thing like you said, but if it's $25 a team, times 12, that's $300. What now happens is, the winning division splits to $300. So for us, it would be $300 divided by 5 is $60. However, I say 5 because the bottom teams in each division at the end of the regular season, based on record, they're not eligible, which is like
so
kind of fun. So
$60 a team, which is it worth it? Not really.
Maybe not. Yeah, but
I think going towards the Super Bowl party.
Oh, is everyone a 6-pack of beer or the wings?
I think that would be more substantial.
Something to talk about at the at the owners'
maybe
meeting.
One more topic is we need to have a picture. We need a Mudbowl picture. Possibly all wearing suits.
Frat picture style.
No, not even frat, because that's not respectful.
Okay.
We're going to be like a line of orthopedic physicians. I think that's a good idea. Suits, looking like you're a professional.
I like it.
And we could take this before the year starts, or maybe even after draft. But that's something that I think everybody's actually said in the past that they like. It's more or less just getting it together and scheduling a date.
Yeah, we do it yearly. It's a history thing. We
It'd be cool.
Annals.
Yeah, definitely.
And I had a couple other things that I'm going to hold off on. There was this new app I downloaded yesterday?
Yeah, we'll talk about that next week. Other things we'll talk about is possibly, because how easy it is with technology to access past information. Possibly having a historian in the league so we can look at career numbers. We can look at who's won what year. Somebody that has some time and wants to volunteer to put things together so we can see what every team looked like year by year, how people have performed, and now that we're gonna hopefully get a picture of the Mudbowl every year, we could throw a picture so we can see how the Mudbowl looks year to year. As we get older. Not that we're getting older, but it'd be pretty.
We are getting older. It would be mathematically.
It would be nostalgic. I think
it'd be great, and that's what this episode was about.
Right.
We love this league so much. We have a podcast for it. For Christ's sake, we have a lot of history, a lot of fun, a lot of laughs. We want to keep it that way going forward.
Make Mudbowl great again.
It's never not been great, but it's greater.
Right. Make Mudbowl greater
again.
More.
Make Mudbowl greater again.
Joe, I'll tell you what. I think it's been a fantastic show.
I think it's been an absolutely phenomenal show. And
a lot of pats on our own back.
Yeah. I mean, again, Ed, I think this is just going to keep growing. I think that Mudbowl is on the up.
For everybody listening, Mudbowl, members, I want you to take everything we talked about and think about it.
That's it.
Critically think about it. Are the things we're talking about, are they harmful to the league? If you understood the rule changes, would you actually like them? Do you want to have more strategy, or do you want this to be more basic league? I want you to ask yourself that, because if this is just a elementary level league, we just want to do it for fun. That's fine. We appreciate that, but we want you to mention that's the reason why you don't want a rule change. If you want the league to evolve and become more strategic, we want you to say it. We want you to bring it to the table. Call in. We're on Wednesdays, and guess what? We'll do interviews any day of the week as long as we coordinate them.
Yeah, and we can record them and play them during the show for everyone to hear.
Definitely.
So again, we're gonna wrap it up right now. We're out almost an hour. I want to get this under an hour, and we got about 45 seconds. So we're gonna post on social media about some of these ideas. Maybe start a conversation, whether it's via Instagram, via the group chat, whatever it may be. But a special thanks to Mike Kapinos for a great interview.
Our Brohagen's son, who's one of our sponsors, Homeless Hot Dogs, the official hot dog of the Mudbowl Podcast.
And then also Phil.
Over at AMP.
AMP, yeah. So we got to our sponsors. Thanks for supporting us through everything.
On that note,
hey.
God bless.
We love you.
love you. Do the right thing, all right?